OMS, que el documento era mediocre, que era mentira, que era falso, y empezó la polémica y el debate sobre si en realidad había una flexibilidad o no había una flexibilidad. Esto llevó 3 años hasta Doha, donde se hizo la declaración donde se dice realmente existe este derecho, existe la flexibilidad, existen mecanismos que se pueden utilizar para proteger la salud pública en caso de un efecto negativo de la implementación de estos acuerdos de propiedad intelectual. Los países pueden hacer una licencia obligatoria, pueden hacer una importación paralela, y eso es una cosa perfectamente conforme al acuerdo TRIPS.
Parallel imports. Thanks to Article 6 of the TRIPS agreement, in the interests of public health and for limited periods only, it is possible to import a pharmaceutical drug from the company which offers the best economic conditions, without asking the patent holder's permission.
Hay países como el Brasil que no ha hecho una licencia obligatoria, pero que ha utilizado la licencia obligatoria como un instrumento para negociar. Y en el momento que han anunciado varias veces que van a hacer una licencia obligatoria, entonces la industria ha dicho, bueno, no, un momento, vamos a negociar, y ha tenido el efecto que es lo que se necesita, el efecto que es una reducción de precios para poder aumentar el acceso a los medicamentos.
Compulsory licenses. Thanks to Article 30 of the TRIPS agreement, it is possible for a country experiencing a healthcare emergency, one country, to produce a generic pharmaceutical without paying the patent rights. This license has a limited duration.
They have passed a compulsory license bill that a country can ask for a compulsory license, but they have made the rules and regulations so difficult that it is not practical. What they should therefore do, that the third world should have a very simple, practical, compulsory licensing system.
Developing countries, when they wanted to make use of the flexibilities, there was a lot of pressure on them from the pharmaceutical companies as well as some of the industrialized countries not to make use of this flexibility. This was the case of, say, South Africa, when they wanted to change their laws to incorporate the flexibilities. 39 pharmaceutical companies took South African government to court about it.
Hundreds of protesters affiliated to the AIDS lobby group, the Treatment Action Campaign and Labour Federation COSATU are marching through the streets of Pretoria. The Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association is suing the South African government for a law that enables the country to purchase generic drugs rather than their more expensive equivalents.
We are ready, if necessary, to take all the measures necessary to get treatment to people with HIV and AIDS.
This case is really about
what comes first, commercial interests of the multinationals or the right to life of people.
Good afternoon, welcome to 1 O'Clock Live. I'm Sally Burdett. News from around the country, around the world at lunchtime. In the headlines, drug companies drop their lawsuit against the government.
This is a win-win situation for the government and the Treatment Action Campaign. Not only has the case been withdrawn, but the Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association has agreed to pay legal costs.
Labeling it a major victory, representatives of pharmaceutical companies appeared withdrawn.
We're going to need many more countries making use of the Doha Declaration, and particularly producing countries, because of the larger producing countries such as India do not allow their companies to produce generic versions of newer medicines. There is, at the end of the day, there aren't going to be any sources left to import from.
In 2005, India had to bring its patent laws into line with TRIPS. Patents on pharmaceutical products were reintroduced. The only possible loophole is Article 3D of the new law, which states that a patent cannot be granted for any drug which does not represent a substantial pharmaceutical innovation. That's why Novartis' anti-cancer drug Glivec did not qualify for a patent, and why Novartis has taken the Indian government and its law to court.
They say that they want a declaration that 3D is unconstitutional. That is the prayer. They have added also another prayer which is not here, that 3D is in violation of TRIPS. So you want to copy them? It's our argument that under the TRIPS agreement, a private individual cannot argue in a domestic court that any law of any country is not TRIPS compliant. That is only for the government to do, and that too in the WTO dispute panel. So according to us, they cannot make a declaration. That is what we have argued, and the court will decide. They need not have challenged 3D at all, but since they have challenged 3D, if they succeed, it will impact all the drugs. Whether they are cancer drugs or anti-cancer drugs or antiretrovirals or TB, malaria. If we succeed ourselves, then it also impacts favorably on all the drugs. So 3D challenge impacts on all drugs.
India is the main producer and exporter of high-quality generic drugs. Companies such as Ranbaxy and Cipla sell their medicines to many nations in the Southern Hemisphere and to organizations including Médecins Sans Frontières, who buy 80% of their medicines from India. These are companies with very high quality standards. Cipla was founded in the 1930s to allow India to break away from its dependence on the British pharmaceuticals industry. Gandhi himself was enthusiastic about its foundation.
No. I like intellectual property. I certainly believe that if somebody invents a new drug or something, he should be suitably rewarded. There is no question about that. I have never been against patents. Please, I have been against monopoly. That in the third world, in a country like India, with 1.1 billion people today, likely to go to 1.5 billion by 2020, we cannot afford a monopoly.
The golden age of the Indian pharmaceuticals industry began in 1972, when Indira Gandhi abolished patents on pharmaceutical products as a means of addressing internal health crises. This considerably boosted the production of generics.
In 1984, the Italian local business, pharmaceutical industry, the indigenous Italian industry was on top of the world. You had Carlo Erba, you had Farmitalia, you had all the large Le Petit, all the large Italian companies. They were manufacturing in Italy and exporting. Then in 1984, like what India did in 1995, they reintroduced what is called product patents. And the minute they reintroduced, the Italian pharma industry went down. The same is likely to happen to India. If you look at the disease pattern in India, 110 million mental patients, 80 million heart patients, 60 million diabetics, 60 million asthmatics, 1 in 3 Indians has got latent TB, 50 million hepatitis B cases. By 2015, we will have 35 million HIV positive. So these figures India simply cannot afford a monopoly.